The Hannycast, a weekly LSU football film study with Charles Hanagriff and former LSU tight end Richard Dickson. Now to break down the Tiger tape, here's Charles and Richard.
And we welcome you into the Hannycast for here today, Tuesday, August the 26th, just a few days away from the LSU season opener with Clemson. I'm Charles Hanagriff, along with former LSU Tiger Richard Dickson. Glad to be back. Hope everybody had a great summer. You had great vacations and a little time to recharge your batteries. And Rich, I'm ready for the season. I know you are. Glad to be back on the podcast, man.
Man, I'm just excited for some sports. You know, it's the long dreaded period after college baseball. Don't have anything to watch, and then you're just geared up for football. It seems like it takes 6 months, but man, I'm excited.
Watched a lot of golf and some pro baseball too.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like football.
College baseball and college football is kind of what I live around.
Yeah, and for a lot of us. So we're excited to be back on the podcast this year. We'll be with you all the way through LSU baseball season, and back on YouTube again this year. I'll kind of give you a schedule here to start off. We're going to be on Tuesdays this year. We're going to bring back our film study this year. Tuesdays, we'll be dropping it on Tuesday nights, so won't be on Mondays. To give us a little bit more time to take a look at the film, make some better breakdowns, and a little bit more time in the schedule. So we'll be on Tuesdays starting next week after Clemson on the day after Labor Day, and we'll be once a week all the way through the end of LSU baseball, which is last year we went all the way through the end of June. So we hope that we can do that again. So Clemson, Rich, let's start talking about that. And we're going to go through the entire roster here today. We've both been out to practice, been out to scrimmages, so I feel like I got a very good handle on his team. But I want to talk about the psychology of the season opener, because everybody all summer 0-5. You know, Kelly's lost 3, LSU's lost 5 in a row. This is the highest ranked team on LSU's schedule. This is a true road game. This isn't the neutral sites that we've been used to in some prior years. So you give me the mind of a player that's got all of this on his mind, especially in the case of a lot of these guys. They weren't here for a lot of this. There's a large transfer portal class here.
I mean, the biggest thing, it doesn't matter who you're playing. These guys are tired of hitting each other. You go out there every summer and you work against each other in the summer doing 7-on-7s and working drills against the linebackers. You get to camp, you bang heads against each other for a long time. At this point in the season, everybody's just ready to hit somebody else.
You buy into the idea that first game to second game improvement is so great that you work the kinks out, and that's what makes a game like this so volatile, so unpredictable, because that first day the kinks haven't been worked out for either team. There's no warm-up opponent here. There's no rent-a-win. You got to hit the ground running again. The best ideally, you like to play the best team on your schedule last, not first. But that's not the way this is.
No, for me, as long as that other team didn't have a week 0 heads up, which LSU ran into the last few years, they've played teams that got to work the kinks out against a team that wasn't very highly competitive. This year, they're both going into a game 1. It's on equal playing fields, other than being on the road. I think Clemson is a veteran team. They got a lot more guys back. But, man, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing more than anything is the confidence LSU players have in each other.
You've said this many times that the championship is really won in the summer. And the summer is won if the quarterback is there to direct the guys. You've talked many times about how influential Matt Flynn was the summer before the 2007 season. Joe Burrow, 2019. Jaden Daniels for the offense in 2023. That didn't work out with the defense, but the offense was certainly there. And by all accounts, Garrett Nussmeier has directed this team, taken on a leadership role. You certainly know something about the number 18. So at least in my mind, I wasn't there to watch those workouts as players only. But from what we've heard and what we've witnessed in fall camp, it seems like they had that basis in the summer that they need to spark them.
There's no doubt. I mean, I prefer on every great team, your quarterback is an amazing leader, because he's the guy that everybody responds to. He's the coach on the field. He's the guy that's going to hold you accountable. Like I said, with Matt, we knew we were throwing 7-on-7 3 days a week. It wasn't a question. You knew you were going to be there. We were going to warm up before. You knew what he expected. We had a script of plays that we were working on. I mean, it is true practice without coaches. And when you have that much extra work in the summertime and you're doing it 3 days a week, you come into fall camp so ready to put the pads on, because you're already on the same page with everybody. When you don't have that, and guys are saying, hey, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, there's no maybes. You got to have a quarterback that comes out there and sets the schedule, and you abide by it all summer, and that's what gives you the head start on offense.
It also isn't lost on me. I was thinking about this earlier. he's the son of a coach.
Yeah.
Doug Nussmeier has been a coach in the NFL for a long time. He's with the Saints now. He was with the world champions, Philadelphia Eagles last year. Garrett Nussmeier probably knows a little thing or two about running an off-season
there's no
drill.
doubt. I mean, he knows how to break down film. He knows how to look at things. He knows how to, schedule a practice. And that's a big deal when you're getting into it. You're knowing the plays that you want to run, who you want in there, making sure the right guys, right personnel's together, and just, it's really just banging out the kinks. You got to get in there and catch what they say in 1,000 balls or somewhere 10,000 balls, whatever it is. The more you're working on it, the more comfortable you are, and the less thinking you're doing, you're reacting. It really makes the offense run.
The blend of receivers, and we're going to get to the receivers in a minute, but the blend of guys returning like Hilton and Anderson, Xavier Thomas, combined with new players like Byron Brown, Nick Anderson, and Bauer Sharp, who's playing tight end, who led Oklahoma in receptions a year ago. How do you blend that combination of what's coming back and what's coming in, because they're going to need them both?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Chris Hilton, what you saw the last 2 games. That was the Chris Hilton we've been waiting for. A guy to take off the top. Really worked on. He had a problem getting back last year. He was jumping a lot, leaving his feet a lot. That's something you saw him work on. And once he got that out of his system, he was catching the ball. I think Barry Brown,
yeah.
He is a similar player. He's not tall, but man, I watched the scrimmage Saturday. He's the one guy I still remember watching, and the guy can move. He's fast. He's electric. You have those playmakers to where guys are gonna. It's tough because you're going to lose reps when you have this many guys, but putting them in the right plays, in the right situations, and the right down and distances, you have a bunch of different ways to get there.
I think you tell me you're very good at breaking down coverages, and if you have Chris Hilton and Barry Brown in the game at the same time, and they are very similar size, speed. Brown is an SEC record holder in kickoff returns for touchdowns, so when you put that element of speed on the field, and there's 2 of them, I think you're really being risky if you're not playing too high, because LSU's got the ability to throw the ball over your head.
They're going to play too high unless they got a Patrick Peterson on the field. I mean, that's the only time you can move away from that. But when you have guys that can move like that, and guys are going to play softer coverage, they're going to play a little bit deeper. And then you got guys like Aaron Anderson, who is amazing in the slot, coming across the middle. Bauer Sharp is another guy that really stood out to me in the scrimmage. He's a guy that can move. I just think that they're so loaded with weapons. We just got to make sure that offense line keeps getting better, keeps coming together, and that doesn't hold us back.
Let's finish up on the quarterbacks. Nussmeier was awarded 18. You wore 18. You're part of that fraternity, I'm going to call it, of 18. It's not just what you do on the field. Kind of explain 18 and how the leadership that's expected to wear that number.
It's a guy that's holding people accountable. I mean, when you get out there, he's not always your most athletic guy, the best guy on the team, but he's a guy that shows up every day, works his ass off, busts heads when he needs to. He speaks up to the team. He's vocal. He's a guy that, kind of garners respect from everybody on the team. You got to be a player that everybody knows you mean business when you're speaking.
I feel like Garrett Nussmeier is going to have a huge year. I can't tell you that he's going to win the Heisman Trophy like Burrow and Daniels did, although I think he's certainly going to be in that conversation. But I can't think of anybody that is more prepared. When Burrow was going into the 19 season, he'd had a good 2018, but we didn't know he was going to make that leap. Daniels had a good 2022 season, but we didn't know he was going to make that leap. With Nussmeier, he had a really good 2024 season. It's almost like we're expecting him to make that leap.
Yeah, and he's just a guy that, he's been around a long time. With Burrow, we had him for 2 years. We didn't really know what we were getting the first year. The second year was a surprise. Daniel, same way. He's a guy that started 3 years somewhere else, but we saw him the first year. We saw some of the good. We didn't know. This is a guy that we've heard about, we've watched. He's been around a long time, and I think that just everybody feels like they know what he can do.
The LSU the transfer portal class has a lot of guys that are going to start, but it also has enhanced the depth on this team. Michael Van Buren was a starter for 9 games last year at Mississippi State. He comes in as a backup quarterback. He's an outstanding athlete. I thought he did some nice things in the pass game. That's still sort of rough. He's what I call a limited insurance policy, Rich. Trying to bring in a quarterback that has starting experience to come in, that not only sports starting experience, but starting experience in the Southeastern Conference, and to have him come in knowing that he is not going to be the starting quarterback. Michael Van Buren could have completed every pass in August, and he was not going to start. And he knew that when he got here. But he provides that insurance policy that if something does happen to Nussmeier, I'm not saying if Nussmeier's out for the season or anything, but if something does happen to him where Van Buren's got to play a quarter here or even a game or two, that LSU feels pretty good about his ability to go out there because he's done it before.
Yeah, and he brings a different package to the field. He's a guy that can get around with his legs. He can move. There's going to be a package of plays that Van Buren's going to run, and like you said, I would, of course, we never want the starting quarterback to get hurt, but there's a package of plays that they could put in for a game plan, a game or two, that I would feel comfortable watching him run.
In the backfield, Caden Durham is back. He's the unquestioned starter at running back. He had a terrific freshman season. And we're expecting him to have a big year. We're expecting him to have an all-conference type year. Yeah, what did you see?
He can fly around. I mean,
what did you see that you didn't see the first year? The jump.
Well, you saw the patience. I mean, the guy's very patient in the hole. There's a lot like that scrimmage. We're not live tackling, but watching him go through his reps and watching the way that he slow plays and allows the offensive line to get to their blocks and the way he moves, and then his burst of speed. Once he slows it down, lets the offensive line do their job, and he puts his foot in the ground and takes off. He's a guy that's going to be hard to catch.
What I'm most anxious to see from him is as a pass blocker. And we talk all the time about why isn't this running back getting the game? Inevitably, it's because, well, pass protection. Josh Williams was about as good as he got in pass protection. So I know Durham can run. I know he can catch football. I know he's got great speed and explosiveness. He's going to have to be in the game a lot, and so I'm watching for that pass pro portion of his game.
I saw a few of them this weekend where he was there. I mean, the biggest thing is just you're going to get in there and get in the way. You're trying to save a second, but knowing who to go after, where your reads are, where you're looking, is something that takes time. I mean, that was the hardest thing for me as a true freshman, was understanding, who to block in pass coverage, because there's so many different things that can happen. But when in the limited time I saw him this weekend, I mean, he was there, made every pass block, and looked like he was doing a good job.
It's a little thinner position than maybe we had hoped. JT Lindsey was suspended, and Caleb Jackson, I think, has had an average camp. I don't know that he stood out. And Harlem Berry, a very, very talented freshman, I think he's going to have a terrific career here, is probably not ready to play a ton just yet. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Durham to carry a heavy load early.
Durham's going to be the guy. I mean, he's the guy that everybody's, he was the explosive guy when he came on the scene last year. Now he's going to be the veteran of the group. He's going to shoulder that load, but there's going to be plays for, Caleb Jackson. There's going to be plays for Harlem Berry. I mean, there's things that you can put him in, but like you said, Durham's going to be the main guy, and I think he's ready to do it.
We want to welcome to the podcast Cena Italian restaurant located in the heart of downtown Hammond. Cena, upscale Italian, serving traditional dishes in contemporary fashion, inspired by an abundance of fresh local produce and the ways of old. Cena, creating a unique dining experience. Their goal is to use local ingredients and delicious recipes to create an exceptional dining experience while also providing a fresh and inclusive atmosphere that can be enjoyed by everyone. In the heart of downtown Hammond, Cena. All right, let's get back to those wide receivers. I think you're going to see at least 5 play. Hilton, Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas are all returners. Nick Anderson and Barry Brown are the newcomers. They're both transfers. Brown, we talked about a little bit, very similar in size and speed to Hilton. Nick Anderson is also an important piece here, Richard, because he is by far, I would say by at least 4 inches, the tallest of the wide receivers. And he was an outstanding player as a freshman 2 years ago for Oklahoma, missed most of last season with an injury. So 2 years ago, he led Oklahoma in touchdowns, and he's looking to return to form. I've seen some sparks from him at times in camp.
Well, definitely. I mean, he's got the size. He's a guy that you can go up over the middle. Can beat your smaller defenders. He's a guy that can go, high point the ball, get there. He's going to be a big part of this offense. I mean, between him and you got Trades Green, I mean, there's height out there that, supplies things that is going to be tough to cover.
He looks like an athletic version. He's got that ability to go up and get the ball. I'm not sure there's a comp from when you played. I mean, he's got he looks like
he's
a wide
thinner
receiver.
It could be a thinner Dwayne Bowe. I
Okay.
mean, so Dwayne was a tall guy that he was the guy that was going across the middle. But, Dwayne could also burn somebody down the sideline. But he's a big guy that it provides more of a target to throw to.
So when you see this group, they talked a lot about 12 personnel. You can tell me which 2 wide receivers you prefer. You could tell me when they go 3, which receivers you think are better off in the slot than on the outside.
I want Aaron Anderson in the slot every time. I mean, we saw what he did last year. He's a shifty guy. He's not always the fastest guy straight speed, but I mean, he moves, he gets open. He's got a lot of wiggle with him.
Tight end is right in your wheelhouse. Bauer Sharp, we saw him in the game against LSU last year for Oklahoma. He was their leading receiver a year ago, number of receptions. Started his career at Southeastern, so he knows a little bit about playing in South Louisiana. You've been impressed with what you've seen of him so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's an athlete. He's a guy that, he's aggressive. I don't think we have a true tight end on this team. From the film that I've seen and the time I've got to go watch him play, we don't put our hand in the dirt a lot. It's a lot of guys blocking off the edge, playing the offset, kind of like an H-back, what we used to call it. But, I mean, they're very athletic at the position. You can run a 2-tight situation that looks like 4 wide, 3 wide. I mean, we got very athletic guys, but when they get on the edge, they're both aggressive and can block, mid-level to safety.
When they're flexed out like that, maybe 2 yards outside of the tackles, are we calling that 12 personnel with these 2 guys in the game or not really?
I don't know what they're calling it right now. I mean, there's so many different things you can do with just their athleticism.
I am encouraged by what you've told me about Tre'Davious Green and what I've seen in that he is a willing blocker, if not necessarily a polished blocker at this point. That's still coming. He's given up basketball. He played with LSU's basketball team briefly last year, and he's put on a little bit of weight in a good way, probably 10 to 12 pounds there. So tell me about going from willing blocker to polished blocker and willing route runner to polished route runner, because I think of Tre'Davious Green as this big mold of clay.
Yeah.
This beautiful clay that you can make into this beautiful sculpture. When he is polished up, his 3rd year in the NFL, man, this guy might be before that, but I'm just thinking, man, this guy's got all pro type ability.
He's 6'7", 240 right now, and he looks like a beanpole. When you're that tall, 240 doesn't look heavy, but he's a guy that could probably hold 255, 258. He throws his head in there. He can start banging. I think the biggest thing is, leaving basketball and getting in the weight room, spending that time to get stronger, and then working with your coaches, understanding leverage. And that's a tough thing. When you're 6'7", it's really hard to block. I mean, when it was easier for me at 6'3" because I could get under guys, and you play with leverage that way. Understanding how to bend and use his body and get in the best position for him is going to be key.
And the route running, if you watched a little bit of that the other day, has it improved?
Yeah. For guys like him, it's really tough because they've never needed it. When you're 6'7", can move like that, you can run a bad route and be open. I mean, you got guys that are 5'10" to 6 foot covered.
I'm remembering the touchdown in the bowl game where we were doing a film study. And you're like, this is a terrible route, but he's still.
But when you're 6'7" and the guy that's covering you is 6 foot, it doesn't matter. You didn't have to bend him. The guy knew what he was running the whole time, stuck with him in his hip. He just couldn't get there. When I'm talking about bending is understanding that you don't want to give up what you're running. You want the guy to always have doubt in his mind that you might be breaking out or going on a corner, then bend him over across the middle. So him understanding where to get with his leverage and then using his size and ability, he's really going to be just unguardable.
When they're working in the summer like that, is that something that the quarterback can easily point out to him when they're running routes and things like that? If he's not running the right way, is that something that the quarterback can correct?
Well, it's easier to do in the summer because you're running cones. So you're going to put the cones out there. It's very obvious when you bend away from the cone or when you don't take the right steps or get to the right leverage. And the quarterback's going to tell you, I mean, he wants to know where you're going to be. He can't wait on you. It's all about timing, getting to a certain spot at the right time, and the quarterbacks are going to really push that.
I'm excited about him. He's the quote unquote matchup nightmare.
Yeah,
especially in the red zone. I think he can.
Charlie, he caught 13 passes last year, 4 touchdowns. It's pretty tough.
You're right. I'm expecting a big jump in those numbers this year. From a backyard shed to the top of the game, Marucci is not just a baseball bat company. They're a legacy built on passion and precision with 2 decades of crafting the finest wood, metal, and leather in the sport. They're here to help you run the game at Marucci Sports, MarucciSports.com, and the Hitter's House, open 5801 Segan Lane and on Airline Drive, 1801 Airline Drive in Metro. complimentary 24/7 access to the members-only cages with bullpen cage reservation opportunities and a 15% discount at the retail store. Check it out at maruccisports.com. All right, so we're continuing on the offense. Now we get to the part that is the biggest question mark. If Nussmeier is the biggest known commodity on this team, the offensive line is the biggest question mark. They lost 4 guys who were drafted in the NFL last year. Their starting center from a year ago, DJ Chester, is now a guard mostly, although he is also still the backup center. That's a lot of moving parts. And here, even a week to the opener, they're still not completely sure how this is going to look. Brian Kelly said on Monday that he expects 8 offensive linemen to play in this game. Rich, I can name them, but who goes out there and win is still very much up in the air.
I really believe your tackles are Weston Davis and Tyree Adams.
As do I. I agree.
Those are the guys that aren't moving, and I watched them. Those guys give me a lot of confidence. When I watched one-on-one drill Saturday night, I don't think I watched an offensive lineman lose a rep. I mean, when they get out there and do one-on-one, these guys have the ability. They're strong. It's just now, can they put it together? Can they all be on the same page and have that cohesiveness? I think the tackles, you're fine. Everything I've heard, center's done. I mean,
center's done.
So you go to your guards, and I say, last year we hated when what's the guy that got hurt, but Paul Mbenga came in.
Garrett Dellinger.
Garrett Dellinger got hurt. So that gave Paul Mbenga some reps. And he's a guy that, look, he struggled when he first got out there. But by the time you got to the bowl game, you got to see Tyree Adams. You got to see Paul Mbenga. You got to see some of these other guys that are going to be pieces this year that really improve.
Okay, so let's talk about Adams first because he is manning let's say either the most important or the second most important behind center offensive line position. At left tackle, he's going to see the best pass rushers in the conference. You're confident in his feet. You're confident in his physicality. Certainly, the film from the bowl game was encouraging.
I didn't see him get beat one time Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, and that's going against what we're calling. You listen to Hunt. He thinks that our edge right now is the strength of this team.
One of them. I agree with Hunt.
When you say that, and I watched maybe 50 reps Saturday, I didn't see either of the tackles get beat.
Okay, that's good. So they have prototypical size. They're both about 6'6", 6'7", about 315 pounds, somewhere in that area. I feel good about that. The center is Braylon Moore, 2 years worth of starts at Virginia Tech. And I hadn't thought of it this way, but when Brian Kelly brought it up today, I was like, oh, yeah. Virginia Tech played Clemson last year very early. So he knows about playing against these guys. And I think it's an experience piece. The guards, this is how I see it. This is just my opinion. I think that Josh Thompson, I know Josh Thompson's going to start the right guard. He played at Northwestern, so Big Ten football. He knows about this level of competition. He played some guard. He played some tackle. I know he's going to start at the right guard. And I think that Mbenga probably gets to start on Saturday.
Yeah.
I won't swear to that, but that's what I think. But I think that Cohen Eccles and Carius Kern are guys that have maybe the bigger upside. They may not be quite ready to play. Kern is a true freshman. You and I, we're talking, we think he looks physically a lot like Lance Hurd when he was here, who's now starting left tackle at Tennessee, transferred out. He's just this massive frame. And his camp reminds me, although he's not the same type of player, he's not the same body type, of what Emory Jones looked like when he came in as a freshman, which was all camp was like, man, he looks good, just not quite ready. And that's what I feel about Kern. I feel like he's going to force his way in the starting lineup at some point. I don't think it's Saturday.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play. And once you get him in the starting lineup, you'll never get him out. That's how I felt about Jones. I think it took Emory 3 games to get in the third game he started, or maybe it was even the second game he started. And he was started the rest of the time. That's how I feel about Kern.
Yeah, and that's what to me, when you have a guy that is getting this name recognition, people are talking about him as a younger. You don't talk about a lot of backups, but he's a guy that, they tried him at right guard. They tried him at left guard. They're trying to get him, and then next week he plays right tackle. When the coaches are trying to put you out there and trying to find a spot for you, it's because you showed them so much of what you can do.
I think he's an all-conference player before his time is out here. I think the sky's the limit for him. I'm also a big Cohen Eccles fan. I liked what he did in the bowl game. I thought he put some good tape out there. You and I looked at that back with the film study. He looks, at least there's some similarities, not a direct comparison, but at least some similarities to a young Trey Turner.
Yeah.
He's very, very physical at the point of attack. I think he's an excellent run blocker. He is not as big as Turner was. By the time Turner was a third year sophomore, he was about 340 pounds. And then, at that point, they were like, maybe you take a little bit of weight off.
Yeah.
Eccles is probably closer to 320. But if you remember when Turner, who's this big physical mauler, which is kind of how I see Eccles, when he got to the NFL, he trimmed down, actually. He got down to about 315 pounds. It's like, man, what an athlete. And
he started his rookie year.
And he got that massive contract. And, it's like, man, he was a really good player at LSU. I was like, I wish you'd have been 315 when you were in college. I think Eccles is going to be a starter at some point. Again, not Saturday, but I think he's one of those 8 guys that are going to play. We talked about the 5 that are going to start. I think Adams, Mubenga, Moore, Thompson, and Davis. I think the next 3 are DJ Chester, Cohen Eccles, and Carius Kern.
And I think it's a good problem to have. I mean, when we talk about it, there's 4 spots really nailed down, and the depth you're talking about at that left guard, they're all good names, and we've all seen good things from them. So when you have this type of combination of players that they're still fighting for a spot, I think it gives to your depth and what you have available.
I'm not going to tell you it's my preferred way to travel. I would, in a perfect world, they would have gone out there and a week after they put the pads on, not the preliminary practice, but a week after they put the pads on, said, this is clearly our best 5, and here are their designated backups, and we're going to run these 5 guys, and they're going to get the most reps together, and they're going to really develop some continuity. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
They had to keep moving different parts around. Now, I'm encouraged by the fact that I think there's some depth here. They are not going to have to shove somebody. Like when Dellinger got hurt last year, they had to shove a freshman in there. You're not in that position this year where you're going to have to send somebody who hasn't played. So, optimist or pessimist?
I feel good about it.
I'm going to be an optimist right now. Like I said, I'd rather they had more reps, but that's
Saturday night I could change.
Yeah, that's just right. That's just how that goes. We're brought to you by Bayou Apparel. Look, if you're getting ready, if you're going to Clemson, Bayou Apparel been helping local businesses since 2009. You're looking for shirts, you're looking for promotional items for your business. Go to everythinglsu.com. Made by locals, and it ships from Baton Rouge. You can do. They've got design experts, terrific designs, fit your company's message, and you can get it at Bayou Apparel. Again, go to everythinglsu.com. All right, let's switch over to the defensive side here. The defensive line, this is, I think, where, other than safety, this is where you're going to see the biggest difference from a year ago, and really from the last several years, Rich. I remember we were in August last year. Who's the most indispensable guy on the team? Well, it was Nussmeier, okay? Who's the second most indispensable guy on the team? And a lot of people thought it was Jacoby and Guillory.
Yeah.
Why? Because freshman behind him. There wasn't a whole lot of – he got hurt. Here come the freshman. And he did a nice job. They don't have that problem this year. On that interior, Guillory is really probably a backup right now. And Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro, who played so much a year ago or a year better. I know you liked both of them.
Yeah.
And so you bring those guys in. And then Bernard Gooden, who was sort of I thought of him as a throw-in. I underestimated the impact that he would have. He was one of the last guys. In fact, I think he was the last guy that they brought in the transfer portal. He didn't get here till July.
And he's the most talked about. I mean,
he was okay. So if you don't know who we're talking about, Bernard Gooden is from South Florida. He is a starter there a year ago. He's 6'4". He's about 270 pounds. If that sounds light for a defensive tackle, it's because that's light for a defensive tackle. But he has got a quick first step. He is up and under people, and he has been hell to block all camp long. I like the fact that he's a different body type than the other guys, so he's more difficult to scheme. If you're going against LSU, you got to find somebody who can get that foot in the ground quick. But what I really like, Rich, is if Bernard Gooden were here as a starter, and I think he's going to start Saturday, if he were here as a starter and there were 2 or 3 defensive tackles that LSU really felt like they could count on, and one of them was a freshman, it'd be like, man, this guy's going to have to play 65 snaps a game. And then I'd be nervous. I think they can get away with playing him even as a starter, maybe 50% of the reps or even less. And that is going to make him a really effective guy and ensure that he doesn't get worn down.
Yeah, I mean, everything you've heard, I mean, look, Bro and McKinley are just big guys that, played a lot as true freshmen last year. Were really good. I mean, Bro, to me, played in USC. I mean, I think, did McKinley play in USC? No, McKinley had
No, he a few games later.
Bro came in game one ready to play, and he's a guy that got better every week. He was a guy that was really fun to watch. So I was really excited about his growth. And then, but all I'm hearing about is Goodwin. Everybody's talking about Goodwin. So when you're a guy that comes in, and it's all about how fast he is, guys are having trouble keeping up with him. His first step is electric. I start thinking about, like, okay, now let's get into a passing situations. You can slide him down. They say Jack Pyburn. He's another guy that can go down and play a tackle on a pass situation. You got Patrick Payton coming off the edge. I mean, the different combinations of speed and athleticism we have on that front four is the most we've had in a long time.
This is when we transfer out to defensive end, you talked about Peyton Pyburn, who's setting weight room records right now, coming over from the University of Florida. Jamari Butler, who's coming from Nebraska. I mean, God bless, these guys aren't coming from 1AA programs. Yeah. They're coming from big-time programs where they have played. This stat, I finally sat down and put a pencil to it to see if they start who I think they're going to start on Saturday. You're going to have somewhere between 80 and 95 starts from players that will be on LSU's second unit on that entire defense. Rich, that's the equivalent of 7 or 8 starters, returning starters that are on your second unit. That's the type of depth that would be envious in any year, but especially in the transfer portal era, because you bring guys in, but you lose guys too. That to me means fresh legs in the fourth quarter when you can win a game with a pass rush, and it means fresh legs in November if they play this right.
Rotation is the biggest thing in the D-line. When D-lines are great, it's because they're rotating. Those guys that are not playing, 50 snaps in a row, you got guys that can go in and bring in a fresh set. And when you have this many combinations, the reason I brought up Pyburn is because he's playing a lot of D tackle. I mean, they're sliding him down. He's a guy that's big and strong.
Passing downs.
But he's also they got him run a lot of shades where they can get him one-on-ones. He's a guy that can disrupt in the run game up the middle as well. So,
because he was not known at Florida as a great pass rusher. No. He's more of an edge setter or a run stuffer. If you add that pass rush element, all of a sudden he becomes a monster prospect.
Yeah, and Hunt had some clips on him while I was driving up here, talking about how much he's learned from Kevin Peoples. He said he's a 100% different pass rusher than he's ever been. He's faster than he's ever been, and he's stronger than he's ever been. All summer long, he's done nothing but break his own personal records. So he's a guy that is out there, busting his butt and wanting to do the work. I mean, I'm excited about all the different possibilities.
I like Kevin Peoples as a coach an awful lot.
He changed some guys.
Did you not see Braden Swinson last year? I mean, and how much he changed him, how much of a big jump he made?
Between Braden Swinson, the other guy that put on a lot of weight, then got smaller again. He lost some weight, played DN, opposite of Braden Swinson. I'm drawing a mind blank, but his first
yeah. Savion Jones.
Savion Jones. What he was able to do with Savion,
yeah,
he made him a completely different player. So everything that I heard of Kevin Peoples, and I always realized that Missouri was putting out some great pass rushers and great defensive linemen, and then you see why. Once he gets here, he makes an immediate impact. Last year, he made two guys completely different players, and now seeing the talent and the depth he has to work with, I mean, it's amazing to see.
Gabe Relaford was somebody else that they brought.
He's going to
start.
So he was a guy that we talked about last year, and once he got on the field, he was really good. But what I've heard about his growth, I mean, he's a guy that's just a freak out there. When the other guys, Jack Pyburn, Peyton Ellis, Wes Weeks, everybody talks about what Gabe's doing, and that's another guy that to me is going to be a sophomore. That freshman class they had on the D-line last year was pretty damn good.
4 defensive ends: Relaford, Pyburn, Peyton, Butler. 4 defensive tackles: Guillory, McKinley, Bro, Gooden. I didn't mention Sadir Mitchell, but I probably should. He was a transfer from Texas. He's a big Bo Davis guy. Bo was his recruiter at Texas, about 350 pounds. I expected to play in some goal line situations, short yardage situations. That's 9. I ain't mentioned a freshman yet.
Yeah.
Okay. In prior years, somebody like Zion Williams, who's 350 pounds also, might have pushed for playing time. Hell, last year
we had 3 freshmen playing
would
on
have had to
D-line.
play, and that's not the case here. And since we brought up Kevin Peoples, we should probably bring up for a moment Kyle Williams,
Yeah.
who I know you know, and has been nothing but a huge asset since. And that's not an easy deal, Rich, to join. It wasn't in the traditional coaching cycle. You come in right at the end of the season, you start with a new bunch. You had to kind of jump in the middle here.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle. The one thing I know about Kyle is he's a leader in every room he's ever been in. He's the hardest working guy in a room. He's a guy that people love. I mean, I still to this day watch clips of him leading his team with the Buffalo Bills and the way he talked to those guys and the way guys talked about him. I mean, he's a guy's guy. He's a player that everybody respects. I think there's no better person to run that room. I mean, he's a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes defensive tackle. And when you get out there and you get to work with these guys, I've watched the clip. He's passionate. I mean, this is something that means a lot to him. So I couldn't have a better situation for him to get in there and work with these guys.
I don't like to talk about coaches' personal lives, and this is not in the vein that I mean this, but I'm saying it in a very complimentary manner. I hope it's taken that way. Kyle Williams doesn't have to do this.
No.
Kyle Williams played a dozen years in the NFL. He made plenty of money, and he doesn't have to coach. Kyle Williams could retire and
he could sit at the tailgate, have a beer, and watch the game.
Spend time with his family. He could travel. He could do whatever he wants. Do some easy TV gig somewhere. He doesn't have to do this. He's doing this because he wants to do this, and that means everything. He's not in this because, oh man, I can get in this and make that. Now he's made his money. He was on a national championship team here. His legacy at LSU is secure. His reputation in the NFL is secure. If he never did another thing in football, and he doesn't need the money, and he's doing this, he's out there. Believe me, this is a time-consuming job. This takes you away from your family. This takes you away from your own personal time. He's doing this because he wants to.
He loves it. I mean, this is what this is his calling. I mean, he's one of the greatest guys. I had the same agent as Kyle. One of the reasons I went with the agent is because the respect, and Tommy Moffitt doesn't talk higher than anybody other than Kyle Williams. I mean, Kyle Williams is just a great guy. So for him to be out there leading these guys, it's awesome.
We're brought to you by Town Square Pizza, downtown Baton Rouge on North Boulevard, available for pickup or delivery. They are delivering personalized pizza with unmatched speed. If you work downtown Baton Rouge, maybe you've got a limited amount of time for lunch, get into Town Square Pizza, where you're going to get really generous portions made exactly the way you want it, and you're going to be able to get back to your office or about your business in a really quick manner. If you're coming in from out of town for an LSU game, you're staying downtown, great place to go get pizza, the night before the game or the day of the game, Monday through Saturday, 11 until 8. And they also do catering. So if you need catering done, you can get it from Town Square Pizza. Also, they do craft brews. They're celebrating. Did you know that there's a National Drink Beer Day? I didn't know that.
No.
Not that we need to be prompted at all, but they're celebrating National Drink Beer Day on Sunday, September the 28th. Check them out downtown at Town Square Pizza. The linebackers are pretty easy. This is a pretty easy talk, Rich. Whit Weeks was a fantastic player a year ago. He's come back from the injury. They've given him some days off in camp just as a precaution. West Weeks is playing next to him, a very experienced guy. So the inside linebacker position, the Weeks family,
they got a lockdown.
Pretty good shape. What I really want to talk about is Harold Perkins playing a star. I'm gonna let you explain that. We've talked about Harold Perkins plenty. Nobody outside of that coaching room liked him inside.
No.
Okay. That's done. That's over. He's outside now. I've seen him in pass coverage in August. I like what I've seen. We've certainly seen him rush the passer, and we know he can do that. So take it from there.
I mean, he's going to be playing the star position, which allows you to come off the edge. He's a guy that's going to drop into coverage some, but he's also the guy that is your big blitzer, a guy that can come off the edge, make a move and go after the quarterback. And from what I saw Saturday night, I mean, he's 100% back. I mean, he was flying around. He looked awesome. He was coming off the edge, covering well. I mean, he looked just normal. I mean, like, it's the guy we expect to see. It reminds me of his freshman year, the big plays. You saw him coming off. He was moving so good Saturday that, I'm just excited to see him in that role permanently.
We talked about all those defensive linemen and all those edge rushers and things like that. And that was before we got to Perkins. Okay. And he's a special guy. Um, I can hear the great Bill Walsh saying you can win a game with a pass rush. I mean, now you can be cynical about that and say, well, yeah, he had Joe Montana and Steve Young, and he did. Okay. But I also remember those great 49er defenses where they just rushed the hell out of the passer in the fourth quarter. You couldn't get a pass off hardly. And that's what I think about when I think about the fresh legs of this group. And if you are Patrick Payton or Jamari Butler or, any of these packages that they got, or Relaford, or and then you got to account for Perkins wherever he might be.
And you still got Witt. I mean, Witt was the guy that, to me, he played very similar to Perkins last year. When we put him in blitz packages, he was the guy that's going to go make the big play and get after the quarterback. So, I mean, when you talk about Goodwin, Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Harold Perkins, Weeks, where's it coming from? I mean, they got so many different options with guys that can get there.
Now, here's the difference that I see from a year ago. You tell me if I'm wrong here, or just clean up what I'm about to say. They talked about moving Perkins around a lot last year, almost different positions, kind of. Well, that's fine. The offense was saying, where's Perkins? But it also led to some busted assignments, and we pointed that out. Yeah, we pointed that out in film studies. Like, okay, well, wait a minute. There was supposed to be a pickup here. There was supposed to be, you're supposed to go with this receiver. So it created some confusion for LSU, and it seemed like he's at this one position that the star that, they're going to move the star around, but that's by design. I'm hoping it leads to fewer busts than it did a year ago.
No, and it will. I mean, I meant to say that when I saw him Saturday night. He looked, every move he made, he was confident. He was flying around because there was no hesitation. He wasn't, stuttering his feet, trying to make sure he did the right thing. I mean, he was one step and go. And when you play one position, you can hone in on your rules, what you're defined by, what you're supposed to be doing, and then react. I think, last year he moved around so much, he's trying to keep up with too many rules, and it makes you play slower. Now he's playing the star position, and that's it. He's going to know what he's got to do. He's confident what he's doing, and it just makes him play even faster.
In a secondary, other than the defensive line, is where you're going to, and wide receiver, you're going to see a lot of new faces here too. Let's be very honest. This was a liability for LSU a year ago, particularly at the safety position. Mansour Delane comes in from Virginia Tech, was a 3-year starter, 29 starts at Virginia Tech. Could play corner safety, but he's locked in at one cornerback. On the other side, Ashton Stamps, who's been a starter here, is fighting like hell to hold his position. He's going to play a lot, but PJ Woodland, who we liked a year ago, Rich, I like him even more this year.
I liked him a lot last year, and I kept saying every time he gets in, he's a guy that makes plays. I mean, he was long. He has good feet. This year, I mean, it's going to be – he's one of those guys that I think he's going to be a starter at some point. He's a guy that's got so much upside. They're trying to put him in. They're working him in at the nickel when they need to. They're playing him out at corner. He's a guy they're trying to keep on the field. Let
me tell you what I saw in the scrimmage work that I saw. Not Saturday, because I know they went a little lighter on Saturday in some of these drills. I see a more physical player.
Yeah.
And it's not because he's bigger.
He's aggressive. It's a mindset.
Yeah, he's about 165 pounds if he's wearing a belt full of wrenches, but he's hitting people now. And he reminds me, he's not quite as tall, but he reminds me a little bit now of the way he's played this August of Rashard Robinson. And if you remember, Robinson was a rail thin guy. He's about the same, about 165 pounds. Might have even been an inch or two taller than Woodland, but he would beat on you.
And he's got no problem putting his face in there. And he's a guy that's going to play strong, aggressive. He's going to create contact at the line, make it a harder release. But Robinson is a great comparison. I was trying to think of who it was. It's the guy I was thinking of. He's a guy that, to me, he has really good ball skills. He's really fluid. He gets out of his hips real quick. He's going to be a tough guy to keep off the field.
I remember that game Robinson had against Mike Evans, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And Evans was probably 2 or 3 inches taller than him and a good 40 pounds heavier than him. And Robinson just beat the crap out of him all day. He would not back down. That's what Woodland reminds me of. And that is all before we get to DJ Pickett, who's the #1 recruit in the class, and the one true freshman on the defensive side that I think is going to be too good to keep off the field. Now, we're talking about all these guys, who's going to play when, but Pickett at 6'4".
That's a cheat code. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, a guy that is every bit of length, Really good ball skills. He's a guy that could probably play receiver if you wanted him to. Like you said, he's got some competition right now with some older guys, but the guy, as soon as it clicks for him and he's understanding it and the coaches can trust him, he's going to be tough to keep off.
Safety, I think, is the biggest upgrade from a year ago. Marcus Cooley came in from North Carolina State. I locked down one safety position immediately. By the way, if you haven't seen it, check out the story of him helping the lady on the side of the road with her 3 kids in the flat tire. I think character still matters, and so I love that story. But Rich, we've been talking through the entire roster here, and I haven't even gotten to the guy I like the best. The first practice I went out there, I like that guy, AJ Halsey, who was another late add after spring, just like Bernard Gooden on the inside. You come in without spring practice, you got to really work your way up. You got to turn heads almost immediately to plow your way in the starting lineup. It was an all Big 12 safety last year at the University of Houston, and you're too young to remember when Dalton Hilliard played here, but I was in junior high when he was playing here, and Dalton went on to a great career with the Saints and was a fantastic player here at LSU. The old legend about Dalton Hilliard was he had to buy his pants 3 sizes too big in the waist to be able to fit his legs in them. That's how Halsey is built. He's got this very, very thick lower body. It's about 220 pounds, and he might be 6 foot tall, but probably a little under that. And he plays downhill. He looks instinctive. I love the way he plays.
No, I mean, I haven't heard anybody that you're listening to sports radio, you're watching YouTube, listen to other podcasts, everybody's talking about him. And when you've garnered that much attention, I mean, there's a reason. He's a guy that got here late and immediately flipped heads, like you said. I mean, you can't really win a position in 7-on-7 drills. You get yourself in the first slot to go out there and camp in the spring. So for a guy to come out there and day one start turning heads, and within the first week, I mean, he's the guy that everybody's talking about.
This is a hard team for freshmen to get to play on, and that's different than the last several years. So that's the roster from start to finish. Let me talk about special teams for a second. Damian Ramos back for another year as your starting kicker, and you may see a little bit with the long field goals. You may see a little bit of a change there. But I feel very good about that position. Aaron Burrell, who's been their kickoff specialist, may get some chance with some long field goals. We think that they are going to be upgraded at the punter position. Grant Chadwick, this is the one position where I don't necessarily care that he comes from a smaller school from Middle Tennessee. His net average was just under 41 yards a punt last year. I can live with that. I'm going to tell you, I don't care that he comes from a smaller school because it's not really about level of competition there. Now it's up here.
Yeah.
You're not kicking in front of 30,000 people. You're kicking in front of 90,000 people. I can't tell you today if that's going to affect him or not. I hope not.
Yeah.
But the ability is there. The kickoff return game got upgraded a year ago with Xavion Thomas, and is going to get an even bigger upgrade when you're going to put Thomas next to Barian Brown, who's an SEC record holder with kickoff returns for touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time. I don't typically watch a lot of special teams at practice. Watching those two to return kicks this past weekend, I mean, it gets you excited because the amount of speed, the amount of options, you can't kick away from anybody. You kick it either one of them, they can hurt you.
You kick it out of bounds.
Yeah.
We're brought to you by Dependable Storage with 8 locations across Louisiana and in Gulfport, Mississippi. They'll match any competitor's pricing with convenient online rentals and payments, free use of their moving truck for new rental move-ins with clean, secure, and conveniently located facilities. Check out the website at dependablestorage.com for locations, pricing, and rentals. Like Skip Bertman always says, at Dependable Storage, we want your stuff. Rich, this Clemson game is sort of taking on a life of its own. I'll be honest with you, I'm not wild about that. And here's why. I think LSU's got a great chance to win the football game on Saturday. I don't know if they will or not. They're an underdog. They're going to be a favorite in probably 10 of their 12 games this year, or at least 9. But this is the one probably where they're facing the highest ranked opponent.
Yep.
This is a true road game. This is not a neutral site. I certainly understand the desire to get off to a good start, which hasn't happened in a while. But I do worry about putting so much on one game. There's 11 after this.
Yeah.
There's 8 in the Southeastern Conference after this. There's 6 against ranked opponents after this. 3 against ranked opponents on the road after this. So win or lose, I think LSU's got a great chance to make the playoffs. I think of it this way. They got to win 10 games or more to get into the playoff. This is the toughest game on their schedule, in my opinion. Now, if Clemson goes out and lays an egg this year, like USC, when we left Las Vegas, I'm like, damn, that looks like a pretty good team. And then they cratered, okay? So maybe I'll be wrong. But if you beat Clemson and you lose to Florida or you lose to Ole Miss, man, you're not going to come out of September feeling the way you need to. I think Clemson's going to be a playoff team, win or lose this game. I think they will probably win the rest of their games, and they may win this one. But I've been trying to tell people the season is not over if they lose. It may feel that way, but it's not. It's not that way. I'm not going to feel great about it. But last year they came out of USC. They lost that game, and they ripped off. I think it was 5 wins in a row. So it's not over if if they lose this game. If they win this game, my goodness, what a catapult it's going to be.
They've won everything. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You don't get an automatic berth to the playoffs if you win this game. So I understand about wanting to get off to a good start and putting a huge amount of emphasis on this game. And look, they're going to be into it. Saturday's going to be a lot of fun. There's 11 games. No matter, I'm saying this, I don't know how the game's going to turn out. Before this happens, it's 11 games after this, and the playoffs are the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and the thing that, I'm not used to talking about an opponent the way that we've talked about Clemson. Everybody's want to know. Everywhere you go, we got at the stadium last night, want to know's up. Yep. Everybody's talking about this. I get it from the standpoint of, it's been a long time. I don't know how or if ever LSU's lost 5 openers in a row. I mean, I'm sure at some point
now you got me something to go look up.
But it's a crazy stat to think about, and I get everybody wanting to get off on the right foot and get started and get the season going. But to your point, I mean, there's 11 more games after it, and you still got to win those. The one thing that I'm confident in is you can push this. There's a lot of leadership on this team. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are doing the talking, a lot of guys saying the right things. You got a lot of guys that can control the room. I feel good, win or lose, that these guys get their heads turned right back on right.
All right, we're delighted to be back for another year with the Handycasts, and Richard and I will be doing film study on. We'll be dropping the podcast on Tuesday night this year, so we hope that hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and join in with us every week as we. I think this is going to be a really exciting season. Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think LSU's got the goods to be a playoff team and maybe a championship team. We'll all take the ride together. For Richard Dickson, I'm Charles Hanagriff, and for August the 26th. Get started early. This has been the Handycast.